Our first guest tonight is an Emmy and Golden Globe nominated actress you know from the Divergent Films franchise and the hit series Big Little Lies. She stars in The Last Letter from Your Lover, which is streaming on Netflix on July 23rd. Let's take a look.
Mr. Booth, dance with me.
Have fun, my friend.
You're slowly going on the rocks now. Yeah, 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 yeah. Tell me, baby, what's gonna do about it? What's gonna do about it? Oh, tell me.
Please welcome back to the show, Shailene Woodley. Hello, Shailene. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I mean, we've talked in the past about the fact that you are not particularly good with new technology. And seeing you there in a film that takes place in the 60s, that must have been one of the many draws to the project.
Yeah, the fact that there was no cell phones and no laptops was a major bonus. It's so funny just watching that clip right now, seeing like those dance moves and the music. It really just, there's something that was so transformative about pretending to live in that space in that era where you actually had human connection. You had two people like touching one another instead of everything being through this 2D screen.
And it's interesting, you know, it's also obviously about letter writing. And you are someone who, even in this modern day and age, will write a letter. Is this true?
I love letters. I love me some letters. There's nothing better than opening your mailbox and putting a letter in and like having the anticipation of when's it gonna get there? What are they gonna think? Are they gonna like what I wrote? And then also receiving them. I'm a hopeless romantic, and there's something that's just very, very romantic to me about letter writing.
I think I have two friends who to this day will still write a handwritten thank you letter. And they're like the only two friends that I want to be at my funeral because they're the only ones that were nice enough to take the time.
I think that's what it is. When somebody writes me, even an email, I know that's not a handwritten letter, but when someone takes the time to write something out, write their feelings out and express what they're experiencing in life, it just hits a different part of my core than, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
You see that game last night?
I
How's
think
it
as
going?
long as they spell it Y-O-U instead of just a solitary U.
I cannot. Thank goodness. Do you remember when texting first started and it was like TTYL, BRB? LOL is still a thing, but those ones, whew.
Well, the heartbreaking thing now is there are just new ones that I would have no idea. I think
That's
the saddest
true.
thing is when I Google what do these letters mean.
It's so true.
You know, obviously this show is about this film, I should say, is about romance. Did you have were there romantic films that you were drawn to growing up? Do you have favorites?
So many. We didn't watch a lot of TV when I was growing up, but my mom, whenever she'd be folding laundry or doing the dishes or some sort of benign task, she always had Pretty Woman or Dirty Dancing or Romancing the Stone or Notting Hill on. And so those were kind of the movies that I was raised on. That was my filmography when I was a child.
Yeah, I just watched, my wife made me watch Notting Hill for the first time. I had somehow missed it, and just an
Oh,
A+. It really holds
It's
up
so
incredibly
good,
well.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so, it never gets old. The music, the cast, it's perfect.
You also, speaking of romance, you managed to do, on a year where so many relationships ended during a pandemic, you managed to start one. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, I always laugh with my friends. I'm like, y'all either got divorced, engaged, married, or had a baby.
Yeah.
Those, like that summed up everyone's quarantine experience.
Now I've been fortunate enough to meet Aaron Rodgers a few times, and I of course have read that you are not a giant sports fan. I know that he is not someone who is only interested in sports. He has a giant breadth of interests. But have you felt the need to sort of bone up a little bit on your sports terminology?
I mean, I guess I haven't felt any pressure to, but it's exciting, you know, to get behind. The Packers games are the only ones I find really interesting because I have people to actually root for.
Yes.
But it is a whole new world, learning all of the different. I'm always like, oh, you scored a goal. He's like, it's a touchdown. Or I'll be like, you crossed the line, and he's like, it's a yard. Or whatever. I still can't get it right, but I'm learning slowly but surely.
I just like that there's something passive aggressive about saying you crossed the line. That he could be like, is this about the game or something I did last night? He's sort of great, outside of obviously an incredible season, his pandemic accomplishment was hosting Jeopardy. How, assuming he took it as seriously as he takes game prep, how much Jeopardy did you have to watch with him?
Luckily, I mean, I was filming in Montreal when he was prepping for Jeopardy, and so he was quarantining. So I would go to work at 8 a.m., 6 a.m., and he would start his Netflix Jeopardy binge. And then when I would get home at 8 or 9 p.m., he would still be watching Jeopardy. And I would open the trash can and I would just see like a bunch of, empty to-go containers and milkshake cups that he had ordered on Uber Eats. And I was like, you literally just Uber Eated and watched Jeopardy all day long today. He's like, yeah, look at my notes. And he had, stacks of notebooks of notes that he took and highlighted and went back through. It was actually really inspiring to watch his steadfast commitment to learning every single part of the Jeopardy game. And we did a lot of like rehearsing back and forth where he would read like some fake things that he had created and be like, well, was my tone right? Was the connotation of this right? Like, how is it all working? It was fun.
Well, the preparation paid off. I want to ask you about a story I read recently. Obviously one of the fun parts about being in show business is you meet new co-stars, you build new friendships. So sort of after your acting career started, you were backpacking around Europe and you had a co-star who helped you and a friend out in a way that I don't think many co-stars could.
Yeah, he really did. He took, we were backpacking through Europe. I was 19 and I just worked with George Clooney on The Descendants. And he was like, if you happen to go to Europe this summer, hit me up and I've got a place in Italy. And I was like, I remember being in Italy with my friend going, do you think should I not? Like, he's kind of like my dad in a weird way. Like, he's just like, giving me so much life advice and he's been there for me through so much. And she was like, yeah, why not? And so he was like, send me your address. I'll send a car. And I was like, no, we'll take a train. It's so easy. And he was like, give me your freaking address, dude. Like, I'll send you a car. And I remember we came out of our hostel, like we hadn't showered in maybe 5 days. We stunk. We had our big backpacks and mud on our shoes. And we get to this fancy Lincoln Town Car, and then we get to his house. I remember that moment going, he is the greatest human being of all time for not one, commenting on our stench, and two, for taking us in and being like, I'm going to bathe you. I'm going to make sure you guys have a European experience that's different from the European experience you've been having. And it was really magical in all of the ways that it could be for a 19-year-old seeing the world for the first time.
Now, did you have to, after that, stay at a hostel for the rest of your trip? Because I would assume that would be the hardest part.
We know what's actually incredible. I mean, he is the most incredible man I've ever met in my life, period. Apart from, I guess, Aaron. I guess I need to say that now.
Good late save, Shailene.
That's how that works, right? But he had to leave town early, and so he was like, I got you guys a hotel room down the way. And I was like, don't worry about it. We'll just go on to our next vacation or our next destination. He was like, no, go to the hotel. So we show up to this hotel, and it's like a 5-star, I want to say it's Hotel I can't remember the name of it, but it's on Lake Como. And it was the first time my friend and I had ever seen a menu like that, never slept in a bed like that. And it just, his generosity and his thoughtfulness was absolutely stunning. And from there, we did go stay in a really hostel again. And that's just part of the fun of it. The fact that we were lucky enough to have both sides of the experiences at that age was, I really think, set us up for the lives and the perspectives that we have now.
I was really hoping that was going to be one of those famous George Clooney pranks where he booked the hotel but didn't pay for any of it.
Right? He was like, all right, girls, now it's your turn.
Hey, thanks so much for being here. Give our love to Aaron, and hopefully next time we'll see you here in the studio.
I will. Have a great day, Seth.